have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor Ayo, the enthusiastic tutor. And in today's tutorial, it's going to be a continuation of the course CSS243. And today we're going to be talking about theories of violence. With this being said, let's go straight into it. Okay, so we have CSS243, CSS243, and we're talking about the theories of violence. Theories of violence. Now, speaking of which, we're going to be looking at different theories of violence, all right, by different scholars, their opinions, and what they think of violence. All right, so we're going to start with what Malthusian, all right, the Malthusian theory. Okay, we're going to take our bearing from the Malthusian theory, which is of Thomas Malthus. I think I should put this, I should centralize this. Theories, all right, of theories of violence, and we're taking our bearing from the Malthusian theory. This theory, all right, this theory says that this theory, the Malthusian theory of violence, focuses basically on the grand function of violence, focuses on the ground function of violence. Okay, it focuses on the ground function of violence. Now, instead of it to focus on the origin, it pays more attention to the ground function, not the cause or the origin of violence. Are we together? Now, this theory focuses basically on the ground function of violence rather than the origin of violence or relationship between the human nature and war of violence. All that is none of its concern. All right, it focuses on the ground function. Okay, so let's take rather than on the origin. Just a moment. Rather than the origin or the cause by relationship, all right, it doesn't focus on all of that. Okay, origin of violence. So the Matthews, it's a theory, all right, of the Thomas Matthews. All right, this theory is credited to Thomas, all right, Thomas Malthus. All right, now he wrote that population will continue to increase. According to him, he said population will continue to increase until they are limited by war, disease, or famine. Okay, he said population will get to a point, it it will become, there will be an outburst in population. According to him, he said there will be an outburst in population. Okay? And the only thing that can stop this, the only thing that can put an end to this is either war, disease, or famine, so that the mortality rate will be increased than the so that the mortality rate can increase and population can reduce. Because when there's a population outburst, supplies will not go round. Okay, there will be no food to feed the entire population, and resources will become very difficult to get because the population now is way more than what the state can offer its citizen, right? So now the Matthews theory is now saying that population will continue to increase until they are limited by war, disease, or famine. All right, these are the factors that reduces population. Okay, so we have Matthew's theory sees inadequate supply of food. All right, he sees inadequate supply of food to meet the challenges of a population outburst as the main source of human aggression. Okay, now member of this school of thought opined that the essence of violence or war is to do what? To reduce the rising population such that population outbursts can be prevented. All right, with the aim of preventing the available resources from being overstretched. All right, like I said earlier, this theory, all right, postulate that the reason why we have war, all right, violence, is nothing more than the fear of population outbursts. All right, the fear of resources being overstretched. Therefore, there has to be reduction in people, in the number of people who are living. All right, reduction either through death, war, or famine. I beg your pardon, through disease, war, or famine, so that the population will not experience what is called population outbursts. Okay, where people will now turn on each other and begin to eat each other to survive, like in the animal kingdom. All right, so that is the reason why we have war, that's why we have violence and things like that, according to this theory. All right, that is the Malthus theory, or of a Malthusian theory. So we have that as that. Now let's look at the other theory called the Youth-Borg theory. The Youth-Borg theory. Youth-Borg theory. Now, this theory believes that high birth rate is the major source. This is almost the same thing, all right, with the Malthusian theory. It's just that it is the opposite. This one says that when this one fears population outburst, all right, but if you listen to what the Youth-Borg theory opines, it says that that high birth rate is the major source of violence or war, but their view are slightly different from each other. All right. What they are trying to say is that this theory and the Malthus theory are almost the same thing. But here they posit that I birth rate is the major source of violence or war. Now, look at it here. It says that human aggression or war, all right, human aggression or war situation is what? On a disparity between the numbers of well-educated, well-fed, angry, fighting age, all right, whereby young males and the number of positions available to them in the society is a primary source of war. All right. Now, what they are trying to say here is that when there is an increased level, all right, a consistent increase in birth rate, the youth boys theory now is now saying it will get to a point where we have a lot of youths. All right, and don't forget the glory of a youth is strength. All right, now this youth, because we have a lot of them in the society or in the community, and there are limited offers for them. All right, like it said here, it said a situation on a disparity, all right, inequality between the numbers of well-educated, well-fed, angry, fighting age young males. They are just being particular about males, all right? Females could be involved too. But the point here is that the youth birth theory says that it will get to a point whereby there are so much youth in a country and there are limited or no offers for them at all. All right. And because of the strength, the vigor, and everything in them, it will be very easy for them to organize, all right, and begin to fight against the authorities. All right. Because of the strength they have, they easily get agitated. All right. They can easily get offended. And this might lead to outbursts of violence or even war. All right. So that's what this theory is talking about. So it's almost the same thing with the Martin's theory. It's just that here it's particular about youths. Now it says usefulness of the people within this age bracket makes them to easily get angry and violent when they are unable to meet their expectations, like access to medical care, employment, quality education, among several others. All right. So if all these things are not being met, they become angry, they become irritated, agitated, and this can be a spark violence or even war. All right. That is for the youth bulge theory. All right. Adequacy to meet the expectation of the youths. All right. Expectations like employment, medical health, right? Medical care, quality education, employment, right? And other things. Inadequacy to meet the expectations of the youth, get them angry and violence. All right. and agitated, and this can lead to violence. Now we have the historical theory. Okay, we have the historical theory. Now, this is another level of macro level theory, right, of violence. Macro in the sense that overview. When we say micro in economics, it means maybe small, something small, like a small view. But when we say macro, we're talking about a large view. All right. So historical theory is what a level. This is another level of macro level theory of violence. When you look at violence from a large point of view, which explain the cause of violence in the context of war. In the context of war. Now, it says here, historical theorists like AJP Taylor often see war as a traffic accident. All right, in the sense that war most time are unplanned. All right, unplanned, not on both ends. All right, it happened as an incident, happened as an accident, or planned. And we're giving two examples. Now, a good example is that of the Iraq war, where the US government made conscious efforts to consider available options in addressing the perceived Iraq aggression in the Middle East, right, and the world at large due to alleged production of the weapons of mass destruction, WMD. All right, the war later erupted, and it can never be proven that the war in Iraq was accidental. All right, from the available fact, the war was carefully planned by the US, and so it was international. Okay, however, one can still argue that war on occasional basis happened purely accidentally. In the case of the Biafran War, all right, the government never planned to go into war with the Biafrans, all right. It was never planned. Now, the war just erupted, and all right, it erupted when it was least expected. So we have the US and Iraq war, and we have the Biafra war, right? Okay, no, this is planned. Is the US and Iraq war, right? This accident is the Biafran war. Biafran, there's an N, Biafran war. So we have that as that. Now, we also have the Hobbesian theory. the Hobbesian theory. Hobbesian theory. Now, in early modern Europe, it was believed that violence was inherent in mankind, meaning that aggression formed part of human nature. All right, in early modern Europe, now, in view, all right, this is expressed in the Hobbesian theory. All right, we all know who Hobbes is. Hobbes is the person that believes that there's something called natural state. That in the natural state, a man is selfish, all right, is bad, right? A man can harm himself and can harm any other person. It's a state of war, all right, state of killing and animalistic behavior. So, in line of that, this theory says that it says here that man by nature is violence. Man by nature is violence. It says man has this egoistic, all right, behavior and is controlled by what we call animus, all right, dominandi, meaning, all right, this animalistic behavior consisting of three passions, all right, consisting of three passions. They are competition, deviance, and glory. Competition, deviance, all right, and glory. It says these are the passion that man is driven by and is willing to do anything to fulfill at least one, if not all. All right. It says these three passions are responsible for the rivalry among men as each tries to gain relative advantage over the other, which often results in violence and hostility. Okay, so we have that as that. So we also have that as that. Permit me to raise the board so we can take more questions. So the Marxist theory says, I see violence as imperial instrument. All right, let me say imperial, trying to dominate, all right, the subordinates, dominate people who are not as high in power, position, or in wealth than you are. All right, imperial, okay, is an imperial instrument to increase the power of the ruling class. Instruments, all right, used by the ruling class, all right, and all right, used by the ruling class. Okay, here we go. So sorry about that, but me to on my backup, and we are good to go. Okay, I think it's manageable this way. So this Marxist theory says that violence is an imperial instrument to increase power, all right, used by the ruling class to increase what we call power. All right, like I said, it's all about subjugating. It's all about trying to put beneath your control, under your control, people who you feel they are not as powerful as you are. That is what the Marxist theory sees violence are. Now, the rationalist theory also said something about violence. It says that rationalist theory argues that perpetrators of aggressions are rational. All right, it says perpetrators of aggressions are rational. Here, the aggressors uses violence as a platform to meet its goals. All right, that is the rationalist theory's view. Rationalist theorist. All right, theorist, or let's say nationalist theory, all right, sees everyone that is engaged in violence as nothing but being rational, in the sense that whoever perpetrates violence feels that is the only available option to communicate, the only available means of achieving his or a goal. All right, so that is according to the rationalist theory. So let's take that down. All right, perpetrators of aggressions are sees perpetrators of violence as being rational. Okay, so we have that as that. And let's take this before we call it a wrap for today. There's something called now also now that's Rosian. The name is somehow. Let's write that out and let's see. All right, Rosian. All right, Rosian theory. All right, Rosian theory contributed on the subject of social contract, where the presence of an opinion contrary provided by Hobbes. You know, Hobbes says man is selfish, all right, he's wicked, is this, is that. But Ossian theory says opposite. All right, according to Ossian, man cannot be said to be naturally violent, and the state of nature was very peaceful, no aggression among men. Now, he claimed that every man went about his or her normal business and social engagement without hassles, all right, or harassed physically by another person. The affairs of the people were regulated by golden rules and there were peace among them. Now, violent hostility and welfare erupted in human social intercourse when there was rise or introduction of poverty, acquisition, and inequality. All right. Now, Russia says man is not actually violence, and it says there was peace, calmness, and tranquility because there is a golden rule that guides everybody. All right. But violence came into existence the moment property acquisition and inequality was introduced. Man is not naturally, all right, violent. All right, violent is as a result, of the introduction of property all right, introduction of property acquisition and inequality. This led to what violence is, according to Russell's theory. Right? So, thank you very much, everyone. On this note, we'll call it a wrap for today, and we'll be commencing by next week. And I'm hoping that by next week we should be done with the course. All right. So, thank you very much, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorial, and do have a wonderful evening. Please do well to submit your note to your appropriate quarters, your updated note. For as many of us who are here to become the member of the private class, let's take advantage of this opportunity and let's enroll today. Bye for now. Forward to seeing you all.